Hello guys, how are you doing? You're welcome. I'm waiting on the camera person to adjust the light and the camera just before we start off. You are very much welcome guys. I'm waiting for my lighting person and camera to come and assure me that you're getting the right picture before we start. Otherwise, I'm glad you guys have tuned in and thank you so much for dropping by. Those of you who are dropping by for the very first time, it's Friday and you will not regret this. I need the camera person to station the camera right and the lighting. And I need the light to also be stationed right. And the lighting now. Until we get a good picture. Okay, we'll see whether the light is good or it's not. It's lacking a bit, I think. Or I hope my sound is good, guys. You let me know in the comment section if the sound is good. We are just adjusting. I think that's wonderful. I hope you guys, now the light has to be centered so that it's not so much on the edge. That's it. Now it's the camera that needs to be keeping out, yeah. That is it. I'm glad that you have tuned in, and guys, thank you so much for being patient. Those of you who have always been the first ones, you should be among the top fans pinned up there. I'm glad that you have come on board. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have had a pleasant day and you have been well. I mean, any reason to thank God. I mean, not many people have been able to make it today. Just a few minutes, just a bit. Yeah, not everyone has been able to make it to today, but those of you who are a good reason to go before Him and say thank you. Because, I mean, if you've not lost anyone, that is a good reason to thank Him because many have passed. Many have not been able to go through today. Many have not been able to see today. But those of us who have, even when we've not got everything as per plan and desire, we just say thank you for He has been good to us. And with that, I just want to say you're welcome. Those of you who are dropping by for the very first time, those of you who are subscribed, you are amazing. And those of you who have always tuned in every Friday, kudos to you. And shouts go out to Shaboya. I don't want to forget anyone. Shaboya, TJ, Jasper. Go out to Cedric, to Dina Max, Lydian, Rogers. Every one of you who has always kept it real and kept it live and going on here. Single dad, oh my goodness, I cannot forget you. And BCM, you guys always come in big numbers. I'm glad that you do that. And thank you so much for always supporting Friday night. Guys, today's topic is one that is interesting. Just as you read it down there, it's exactly what it is. We are talking about how to help our teens open up without pressure. Haha, guys, this is something that concerns everyone, every parent, guardian, uncle, auntie, teacher, mentors, grandparents, anyone that is in charge of teenagers. You would want to sit this through and pick a thing or two because this is something that concerns many. The reason I'm dealing with teenagers a lot is because that is what I keep on getting that I should be talking about, that people really need help with. So remember, on this channel, we talk about things and Whatever we talk about, at the end of the day, you suggest topics that you would want to hear more of. Now, on this channel, we talk about everything. I mean, we talk about finances, investments, health. We talk about relationships, teenagers, and everything in between, even God. Because remember, guys, this is about digesting the Bible with Winfred. But Fridays are dedicated to digesting the heart with Winfred. So if you're one who has got a heart and you want it to be digested well, or you want to think of, I mean, let me put it this way. We are talking about issues of the heart. Anything that concerns our lives, that is the heart. Because those are things that really press people. I know it's good to talk about the Bible. In the week, we talk about the Bible. And the essence of this channel is to read the Bible from Genesis all the way up to Revelation. But right now, it is life as it is, life. So if you're tuning in, good evening. And like I said, if you're new on the channel, my name is Winfred, and happy Friday. Friday night. Welcome back to the live podcast. I always say, if you're tuning or joining us for the very first time, you are in the right place, and trust me, you will not regret tuning in. And if you're tuning in for the very first time, I'm Winfred, and the very first person that has written in is Alan, and you said, hello, Winfred. Hello, my dear. How are you? Thank you for the support, and thank you for being the top one fan on here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Normally, guys, what I do is I go through what we have to talk about, and then I open up a slot where I read your comments. So you can feel free to drop a comment, a suggestion, a question, and we grow together, because we are digesting our life. And anyone on here that has got life can always drop something, so we can grow together. So allow me for the few minutes, just a minute, to share the link so that together others can join. Otherwise, I'm so glad that you've chosen to spend your Friday night on here, guys. I mean, you could be any place, but if you chose to be on this live podcast, thank you so much. Like I said, we are talking about something almost every parent, guardian, grandparent, uncle, auntie, mentor struggles with. And that is, how do we help our teenagers to open up without pressure? I mean, that is something that every one of us would love to have, where we have this good relationship with our teenagers, and yet there's no pressure. I mean, we're not stressing it. It's happening. It's happening naturally. They are opening up. You have that good relationship or good vibes with them. So how do we get our teenagers to open up without pressure is the topic of discussion today. And I'm glad that you have tuned in, because let us be honest. Teenagers are very special. They are a special kind of breed. They can talk for 3 hours straight with their friends on the phone. But with you, you're limited to answers like, you ask the question, how are you? I'm okay. They respond, I'm good. They give short answers, as opposed to the time they really spend with their teenagers. So tonight I want us to break this down. Yeah. I want to break this down, and not with judgment, not with stress, just real talk, real solutions, and real examples. So settle in, grab a drink, grab a bite, and share the link, and let us talk. It is Friday, no stress. You're not going anywhere very early in the morning. And if you have to go to work tomorrow, I bet you it's not like normal 8 a.m. It's about maybe a bit 9:30. It's a bit lazy or a bit slacked for Friday, Saturdays. So join in, guys, grab a bite and let us learn a thing or two, because we all have either teenagers whom you're dealing with as an auntie, a mom, a dad, a grandmother, a grandfather, uncle, any kind, guardian, teacher, mentor. You would like to sit this in and, hear this, and maybe we can, battle head, exchange ideas on this one and see which one really works and which one doesn't. And because it's a live podcast, go ahead, drop your comments. I will read them in the slot once it's availed. Otherwise, like I said, we are going straight to segment number 1, why teens don't open up. Our very first segment is why teens don't open up. Before we talk about how to help them talk, we must also understand why they shut down. Because if you don't understand the cause, surely you cannot treat it or diagnose or be able to help them. So there are 5 common reasons why teens don't open up. And I promise you, once you hear once you hear them all, you will realize it's not personal. It is something else all along. And if you have it straight, you've got your teenager opening up and speaking to you like your friends. So one of those reasons why teenagers don't open up, it's the fear of judgment. Yeah, you heard me right. The fear of judgment. They are afraid you will criticize them, afraid you will overreact. So one reason, if you have a teenager in your house and they are not opening up, they are not talking about, they seem to be closed in, it's because of the fear of being judged. They fear that you're going to criticize them. Once you get to know what they are into or what they are doing or what they are going through, they fear that you will judge them. So fear for criticism causes them to not open up. Now we are going to take this slowly by slowly. First of all, we are going to see why teenagers don't open up and how we will help them get to open up. Because we as parents actually play the biggest part in our children's lives. Because I know you can trust school to do this for you, but you as the parent, the biggest end of the stick is in your hands. You're the one who brought them into this world. So you've already got audience with them, as opposed to the teachers at school, even when they spend most of the time with them, as opposed to friends, because you are their safest space. You are they are constant because they know you'll be there all the time. So whatever you give them, if you made it in life, they know they'll make it. If you didn't make it, they know they are bound to fail. But if you come up with an idea that seems to be one that will guide them on the right track, probably they may listen and take this for you. So now, the first one is the fear of judgment. The other one would be they want independence. I know the way we are brought up. Like, I come from Uganda. I always say this on the live, and I guess some of you who know me are wondering why I'm so proud of my country. I come from Uganda, and where I come from, elderly people are respected or held in high regard, whereby if it's a teenager that we are dealing with, we take them as though they are nothing. Their opinions don't count. They are just children. And growing up, we used to have that talk of you don't speak when elders are speaking. You don't speak unless spoken to. So we grow up in that setting where we are not free to express ourselves as people. So imagine your teenager and they want to, because they are filled with all this energy, they want to be expressive. They are their own individuals. For a long time, say like for 13 years, they've been taking all your orders, all your crap. They've been taking it in without questioning. But now they are at that place where they want to sieve and see for themselves, what is it that is right? What is it that is okay to take? What is it that is safe? Without you telling them. So they want that independence. A teenager's job is to form identity. I hope we all hear this. It is to form identity. Say, I'm my own person. That is what they want to say. Like they are not you anymore. You're not the one in charge anymore, making the decision for them. They want to break out and, tell you that they are their own selves. They are not who you want them to be, but they are them, or they are themselves, and they want to express it out to you. So sometimes silence is their way of controlling their world, because sometimes they just keep quiet, because once they say something, you'll not take it easily, or you may judge them, or you may come up with something that restricts them more. So they go silent because they want to be independent. They don't want you to think they are the little kid that you have always known or had. And the other one would be they don't know how to express emotions. Teenagers may not open up easily because they don't know how to do that. Remember, they are between. They are not fully grown up, and they are not, the young kids that They are now young adults. So we need to be mindful of that, and the people that we deal with. Some genuinely don't have the words. We need to be also aware, because once you have a teenager, there are those who are bubbly, there are those people who are talkative, and there are those who are not, reserved. So there are some who don't know how to have the words, and they feel they feel like 50 things at once and can't untangle it all out there, or put everything out there. So they just keep quiet. And some of them it's also the settings where we grow up and you don't talk. You don't. As you do this, when kids are growing up, we do something that is really, really strange. Like, where I come from, Uganda, there's a way parents dominate. Some homes, you cannot even sit on the same table with your dad and your mom. Some families, you cannot even speak eye to eye with your father or your mom or your grandmother, maybe grandmothers, because those ones tend to pamper kids and spoil them. But then there are those settings where it is the father, it is the mother, but they hear that their father has come and they run off. Why? Because they don't know how to be there with their parents. So it's a lot of reasons, but you're going to break them down slowly by slowly. Now, the past reactions would also contribute to our teenagers shutting down and not talking to us. So we need to first get to the root as to why our teenagers don't open up before we actually give out treatment. I hope we all get this one. Maybe one time they shared something, and the reaction the reaction was too much, or way beyond, or seared them. You shouted, or you lectured, or you told someone else about what they shared with you. That alone, guys, can keep your teenager in the closet, and they don't talk to you or open up. That is something we need to note. The other thing would be they think adults won't understand. Your teenager may shut down simply because they know you will not understand what it is they are going through. So guess what? In their mind, the adult's world and teen worlds are completely different planets. That is how they see it. They see, even if I try to explain to her or to him, he wouldn't know what we are dealing with. So us as parents, it is up to us to get to connect with our children to a point where they also realize that much as we are parents, we are human as well, and we've been there where they are now. Because once there is no connection, there is no bridge that links them to our world, trust me, no one can cross over and come and try to, tell you what they are dealing with. Like teenagers these days, guys, are going through a lot. And kids, I don't know about you, they seem to be getting meaner and meaner and meaner. They come up with the strangest things. They are like looking at a perfect world where you can't fall short. I remember someone told me that in their school, there was someone who had just joined, and people made fun of her and she actually left school and dropped out of school. So it can really get so mean and so bad. Now, if that is your daughter, or if that is your son, and they are bullied at school, or they are going through a lot, even just having the wrong type of shoes. There are schools that have shoes called maybe Bishop or whatever shoes those are, or pumps. And if you can't afford them, if you can't buy them for your teenager, they are bullied because they are not having what is quote unquote trending. So you think about it. It may seem small to us, but things that cause our teenagers to shut down are really many. And to us, they may seem like nothing, but they are something to them. Now, we go to segment it brings me to that question. Does any of these sound familiar? Because I need to know. In the live chat, you can drop. It's a live podcast, guys. You can drop in the live chat and drop your comment. How do you help your teenagers open up without pressure? Because that is something that has bothered many parents. We all want that relationship with our children, but for some reason, things are flipping up. The moment your child is a teenager, from this bubbly person, they flip to someone who never talks, and you don't seem to understand. So like I said, we had to deal with that. What causes them to shut down and they don't talk? And some of those things are, they think adults won't understand, because the adult world and the teenage world seem to be like on a completely different planets. So that is one reason. And we also looked at the past reactions. When your teenager approached you, this one time when they approached you on any topic, the way you responded is the determinant of what your teen is today. Because if you responded in this harsh way, your teenager shut down and it's hard to get them back. Another one, they don't know how to express emotions. Some of them shut down simply because they don't know how to, express themselves. And others shut down because they want their independence. Yeah, so we are going to be looking at what causes them to shut down and how to help them open up without pressure. And the other one is the fear of judgment. Your teenager is thinking, if my mother gets to know I didn't perform well in exams, I think she's going to think I'm daft or something, I'm a failure, they are wasting school fees, because that is something we do as parents. We don't normally get to the root before we actually start diagnosing and giving out all these medicines, which comes in form of lectures, So today we are going to find out what causes our teenagers to shut down and then how to help them open up without pressure. Now, segment 2 that we are on is what not to do when you're dealing with your teenager. Sometimes the reason teenagers stay quiet isn't because they don't want to talk. No, it is because we, the adults, unknowingly shut them down. We don't know it. While we are doing it, we don't know that we are doing that to them and unknowingly. So I'm a parent of teenagers as well. So I'm going to say, we do it unknowingly. No one wakes up in the morning and is like, I'm going to shut down my teenager. No, we do it unknowingly. And here are 4 things we must stop doing if we want teens to open up to us. Yeah? Don't interrogate them. Interrogation to even anyone. Have you ever gone somewhere? Like I remember one time I was called in by some relatives and they sat me down. Already I was on the edge. Before they could even say something, I was on the edge. Why? Because it seemed like it's going to be an interrogation, which I wasn't prepared for. So now imagine a teenager. Remember, these are young adults. They are young adults trying to find a balance of life. They are not your kids that, as you remember them, the younger kids, they are not adults yet. They are in the middle. So don't interrogate them. When you bombard them with questions, they feel attacked. And that is not only to teenagers, guys. It is also us. Has someone ever called you somewhere and they are giving you question after question, question after question, lecture after lecture? Guess what happens? You feel bombarded and you close down. So that is one thing that causes them to shut down. Now, do not interrogate them. That is number 1. The other one is do not lecture them. Lectures make teens to shut down instantly. They don't hear the solutions that you're going to give them. They hear you did wrong. That is all they hear, and they shut down. So they just sit through all the talk that you're going about on. And they just sit and you talk and talk and talk and talk. To you, it seems like you're communicating and they are right there and you think they are hearing you, but they are not. So if you want to help your teenagers, open up. Do not lecture them. Do not interrogate them. Another thing that you're going to do is don't minimize their feelings. Now, this is also something that we do without knowing that we are doing it. And it hurts and also damages our relationship with teenagers, and they shut down and never open up. So when I say don't minimize their feelings, I mean statements like, it's not a big deal, or when I was your age, I went through that and I managed to survive. You can survive that as well. Though that is minimizing of their feelings. Those will communicate, those will kill communication slowly or instantly in your teenager. So what you do, don't minimize their feelings. But what you can do probably is relate. Show them that, you are human as well. And it bothers them. I like the way people in the Western world handle things. Guys, they have a tendency of asking their kids. And these are kids who are about 3, 4. And how did that make you feel? And how do you feel about this? For us in Africa, we tend to dismiss how our children feel. And so they grow up without having that relationship with us where they can easily talk to you. Can you imagine what kind of world we would have if we are in connection with our kids, our teenagers, when they can run back to us and inquire and ask for guidance? There is someone who was telling me that a gentleman asked him, I have my daughter. She was bubbly at 2 years, but now she's 3. She's shut down and has seemingly started to stammer. Now that guy needs to check that kid out really well, because if by 2.5, she was talking and bold and expressive, now she looks for corners and sits there and is already, something is going on, either at home or the neighborhood or at school if she's going to school. So we need to be observant and also mindful of these small changes, because trust me, they are molding your teenager into a person that she is going to be, either a distant person from you, and you wonder, my daughter was okay while she was in her 10s, 9s, but now in her teenage age, she's not talking, and it gets worse because then she's creating her own world where you're out. And if she's going to get any advice, it will be from the wrong people, and you don't want that. So guys, we have to fight this and fight it together. Don't minimize their feelings. Don't react too fast is another thing that can help us. If your face changes when you're talking to your teenager, that is already something that is shaking them off. And if they were going to tell you more, that is when they stop. So we need to be aware of that. So your face shouldn't change, your tone shouldn't shift, because if our tones also shift, they get to pick on that. If you panic, if a teen was telling you a story, they will not finish that story, and so that will be the end of it for you. That is all that you get to know. So how do you get to hear all these things your teenager has to say, but still, be there for them? So now that we know what not to do, let's talk about what actually works in our segment 3. What works and helps us be able to build a good platform for our teenagers to open up. Ways to help teenagers open up without pressure are the ones we are going to talk about now. Guys, it's a live podcast. Feel free to drop in a comment section and I'll read your comment. And together we can learn how to parent our teenagers. One of those things is creating a safe atmosphere. This is one thing that is going to help us help our teenagers to open up without pressure. You create a safe atmosphere. Teens talk in safe spaces, not in strict spaces. We need to remember that one. That means no judgment. When she's telling or he is telling you about something, you don't be quick to judge. You need to be neutral. As much as you want to lash out and say something or give an opinion, you need to be neutral. Don't judge. Don't shout. Even when they are telling you one thing that is turning all your innards upside down, don't shout, don't judge, yeah, and no interrupting. This is how we get to understand them. When they are trying to express something to you, don't interrupt, because once you do, then you don't get to hear the other information that is they had to say, simply because when they were still talking, you interrupted, probably with judgment or probably with shouting, and that's already a shut door that you can't open, because they saw by the very intro of what they were going to tell you how you responded, and so they shut down. Another one, no preaching. I'm telling you this. These things have also happened with me, guys. There are times they are telling me things, and before they finish, I feel like I need to give an opinion there somewhere. But I've learned to hold back and get to hear from them full story before I actually say something. Because when you do that, you get them to open up and tell you more and more things that you would ideally not know. So another one is no preaching. Even when you feel like you have to tell them how for you are a great person, in school, how you really perform, hold back and listen, because they are not you and you're not them. They are their own selves, and they want you to get to know that. And the only way you can is by allowing them to express themselves. Just listen, if I may say. Sometimes the best conversations happen in the car. If you have a car and you're driving off to some place, like when I'm doing something, I get my teenagers sometimes, like now holidays are coming, I get them to go to the market with me, and we go and buy things. They get to even find out where food is bought, how much it's going for, and that is how they learn pricings of things. So the best conversations happen in the car or in the taxi. Say like you're talking and you're like, oh, they tell you, I've been there before, mommy. Do you know that place is cheap? Or, that's how, like we were planning to go out some about 3 weeks ago. And my daughter was like, mommy, I know some nice places where we can go and eat out. And I'm like, when did you get to know them? And she's like, well, remember that day daddy gave me money to go out with my friend, and you allowed us to go for the movies. We went asking, for us, we went to that mall, we were asking everywhere, how much is the food here? Because you had not given us a lot of money. So we were bargaining everywhere. And she ended up leading us to a nice place. We ate, it was family oriented, and it was good fun. But some good conversation, or the best conversations, happen in the car or in the taxi. Other places where this conversation would happen is when you're cooking. Guys, we have teenagers and they are going to be in holiday. I know we are busy parents. It's an era where parents are both working. Mom is working, dad is working, and teenagers are left to just watch TV and on their phones because they've got a help at home who is doing all the work. The best time to have these conversations with your teenagers, to get them to open up, is baking or cooking. You can be, you're going to prepare matoke and you bring bananas. Those of you who don't know what matoke is, bring bananas and you get them to peel with you, and as you're peeling, you're like, where have you ever seen someone do this? Or what do you know about what I'm doing right now? Before you know it, you're getting them to open up. Not necessarily that all the time you're talking with your teenager, it's with the serious things. I know we can't help but get to dig deep in their lives, but we can really start from a place. When you're cooking, while walking, you can just tell your teenager, let us go for a walk to the shop and buy salt. You can never have enough salt, guys. So even when you have salt, you can say, let us go buy salt. And you walk to the nearest shop somewhere. And as you're walking, because teenagers don't like closed or strict spaces, they will open up when they are in safe spaces, which is free. Yeah. So they'll open up as you're walking around. You can get them to tell you about their school and about their friends, while walking. And you buy your salt and come home and keep it somewhere. Next time you go walking and you buy matchboxes, any of those things you can use anytime. So you just buy and keep on buying. And you can't have enough of matchboxes or enough of salt. I'm not giving examples of things that you can do that are cheap, not necessarily expensive, but can get you there. And you have your teenager opening up. Because there is no pressure or direct eye contact, your teenager will open up. Remember, you're walking, remember, you're cooking, you're baking, you're washing clothes, just the two of you. You will be surprised because that is a long time, and they are not confined to looking straight in your eyes. Some of us were brought up where we were not encouraged to look directly in the eye of the older people. So guess what? We shy even when it's not necessary. But people in other Western world, guess what they do? They are groomed to look and keep eye contact. They are not shy doing that. But us, oh my goodness, us some of these guys who are interested in trying to woo ladies, they even dig with their toes the ground, they eat grass, because that is how shy we are brought up to be. But we don't want our teenagers being like that. We want them to be expressive. But then when you create that space where they don't have to worry about eye contact, guess what? Your teenager will open up, and your teenager will tell you things you didn't think you would. Like an example, guys, they go to boarding schools and they spend 3 months there, come home for 3 weeks, go back another 3, come back for 3 weeks again, and go back for another 3. Before you know it, for you've had in the whole year just a couple of weeks with your child. And so you grow distant, and they learn to open up and be different people in a different space where it is at school. No one is judging, no one knows. And they can even take on different personalities when they're at school. They become like maybe the coolest dudes, and you've never had them do anything or seen them do anything. Like an example, one of my nephews came visiting. I hope he's listening in. Maxie, if you're hearing, please drop in the comment that I'm present, and I'll be glad that you've tuned in. Otherwise, my nephew Max has the best voice, guys. You should hear him. One of these days I'll invite him. He's got the greatest voice. And he came visiting one time, and his cousins, my kids, heard him speak. They had never heard him talk. And the mom always used to tell us, oh, we don't know. He hardly talks. He doesn't even talk to me as well as the mom. That's what she was saying. And one time he came home visiting, and I had turned on one of my gadgets, and I told him to ask the gadget something. And he asked, and when my kids were listening in their bedrooms, they were like, they came screaming, oh my goodness, Maxie has a voice. Oh my goodness, he's got a very sweet voice, a very nice, cool voice. They were celebrating about him having a voice simply because they had never heard him talk. But because I had created an environment that got him to open up and step out of his comfort zone, he thought he was not talking for anyone to hear but the gadget. But everyone was wide alert to hear him say something. And when he did, we were like, oh, so now we know you talk. We will get more out of you. So since then, every time I want to talk to him, he talks. So we need to create a safe space for our teenagers, for them to be able to express themselves freely. Another thing we need to do is let them lead the conversation. When you're dealing with your teenager and you're talking to them, let them lead the conversation. When a teen starts talking, don't rush. I'm learning, guys. I'm also learning. I'm not there yet. I'm learning. When a teenager is talking, don't rush. Don't jump in with solutions. Let them control the pace. Yeah? Let them be the ones in charge. Say something like, take your time. I'm listening. Go on. It doesn't mean you don't have 1,000 opinions to give out. You do, but you allow them to open up and, take their time talking. Because the moment you cut in, and your cutting is to judge, your cutting is to lecture or to preach, you will have lost a good moment there. So guess what you do? You let them go on. Seem like you have nothing else to do, or you have all the world, or whatever they are saying is something you've been waiting to hear. That will help you get your teenager to open up. Use open-ended questions is another thing. Instead of how was school, because we tend to do that as parents. You ask, how was school? And guess what answer that kind of question will give you? Fine. Was okay. Was normal. This will give you, those short answers. Try this. What was the most interesting part of your day? Oh my goodness. Unless this teenager is bent on not saying something, But if they are the type that closes and closes up shut, guess what? That would get them to talk. You'll ask them, what was the most interesting part of your day? And guess what? If there was anything interesting, they'll tell you. If there wasn't, they'll be like, well, there was not anything interesting. And then you'd be like, but why? See how you're getting the feel of it, and you're getting the vibes from them. They use words like vibe. Yeah. Or you can say, what challenges did you face today? Or what made you laugh today? So short things, but trust me, if there is anything that made him laugh, he will be like, oh, you won't believe it. The gate man was checking us at the gate point. And I don't know what these guys are on. They pretend like they're checking, but they're not checking for anything. Or if there is anything really that happened outside that, they'll be able to give you full details. This is how you get into their world slowly but surely and get them to talk. And it's nice when we all have that talking relationship with our teenagers. And another one, validate their feelings. This is something that all of us parents, now I'm here to just give a hack to anyone who is ready for hacking into their teenagers' lives, or if they are aunties, moms, dads, uncles, grandparents, and your teenager is not opening up. Validate them. Validate their feelings. Validation, you have to find out, guys, that it is power. It says, if you see, if you hear, you matter. They need to know, when they see you, you are on their side, not necessarily that you support everything they are up to, but when they see that ground has been laid where you see them, you hear them, and they matter, then you'll be surprised. Or they will tell you, I've always wanted to be an engineer, but along the way I've changed. I think I want to be a musician. That is when they will feel so comfortable and tell you exactly what they want. While for you, you're paying fees for an engineer. They want to be artists, and it feels like a loss, but they've let you into their world. And somehow you have a clue. That way you're not caught off guard when the person you're paying fees for gets into and breaks off and goes into something else. I think that would help us a lot. When I say, even if what you feel doesn't make sense to you, what they tell you, it doesn't make sense at all to you, just say, because there are times like even my teens come home from school and I'm tired and I'm not ready to hear all that went on with them, but I want them to talk. So you can just say words like, I understand. I understand why you would feel like that way, that must have been tough. Things like that, and they're like, oh, so mom understands, it's, things like, okay, like an example. They come to you and say, you won't believe it. I wore my shoe and no one gave any compliment. I know how that feels. So what did you do? Validate them. That must have been tough, wearing your new shoe and no one even sees it. You're not so much you're not digging what they are going through. But guess what? You're creating that ground where they can tell you just about anything. So if we learn and master some of these few hacks, we will be good. And trust me, our teens will open up. It means validation doesn't mean agreement, because we need to know that just because you're validating them doesn't mean you agree with them. So like she comes to you or he comes to you and says, I put on my new shoe, and no one said even a single thing. Like one of my daughters had her hair done and she went to school and she said, Mom, you won't believe no one noticed I did my new hair. Because I did the same hair, no one even, except one person. I'm like, I can understand. Can you imagine? That person must be observant. And then she goes on, yeah, she's actually observant because I put on new earrings and she noticed I had new earrings. You see, she's opening up and telling me other things, and I'm getting to know about her friends who ideally wouldn't have known had I not, pried into her world of being interested, even when I'm not that interested, even when you don't understand what is going on with them and why it's so important to them. Validation, guys, doesn't mean agreement. It actually means acknowledgement. In case you didn't know, it means you acknowledge they exist. It means they matter. That is what validation does. So always asking, how are you? How was school? What did you do? Who told you this? What did, we just come up with questions. But if we want a teen to open up, sometimes you go fast, yeah? Share something small from your story or from your day. A story from your teenage years can also help. This helps them understand that our parents have been there before. They actually understand. They do know what is going on, what it is that we are going through. But if you don't share a story and just come up with a question, all the time questions, it's like they close off and they're like, why is he always prying or wanting to know more about my world? He wants to start judging, he wants to start lecturing. They come off on the guarding side. So if we come up with measures where we tell stories ourselves, either about our day or about our teenage years, it would help to get them to know that we are human as well. And what they are going through, we understand. Not to make it about you. That is not why we do that, but to show the vulnerability in us. Sometimes teen talk when they see you are human too. We need to realize. But if we seem like we are up there, like I told you, at some point they even think our planets are different. A teenage planet and the adult planet are so different. That's what it seems to them. But guess what? When you become real and show some bit of vulnerability, then they get to realize, oh, so you are human too, and they open up. That is one thing we shouldn't forget, guys, being human or sharing instead of asking. Like, I like it when my husband tells my kids, me at school, I used to play. I used to play. He says, I went to Kitante. And then he would tell them that we had a system of packing food. So the mom would pack for him food and put it in a flask and give it to him to go to school. And each time he would come home, the flask is broken, the flask is lost. And the dad got annoyed one day, came to school, and he told them exactly. We actually went to the school, I think this year, and he showed one of my daughters exactly where he would throw the bag after school has ended and just get on playing. And he would play. And forgetting that when he throws the bag, because it's time to go home, the flask is breaking. Then he showed her one time and said, this is where I last threw my flask. My dad got annoyed and beat me, whipped me seriously. And from that day, they started getting his flask from him and giving it to the older sister to keep for him. And then after he has finished eating, they give it back to the older sister so that it can be safe after they had tried everything. Now, him being that real with them made them feel like, okay, we can relate with daddy. So because I used to wonder why my boy plays Bananke. I don't know about you guys, but my boy plays and plays. And when he gets to hear that from his dad, that his younger years, he also played, he gets to realize these people are also humans. And in case he has any issues, if the father continues to tell stories about his teenage years, he gets to understand. Now, the son I'm talking about is not in high school anymore and he's not yet a teenager. But if the dad keeps that up, guess what it does to him? It gets him to feel or get to that place of knowing, okay, these guys are also human. They are not angels. They are not divine beings that came and dropped us here, and now we have to face and deal with things. They get to realize we are real as parents. So even when we are criticizing our children, when we are judging them, when we are trying to get them on the straight and narrow, we also need to remember that we've been there before. I know I may have performed well in school, but they are not me. I may not have had struggles in school studying with my academics, but they are having struggles. So I need to be understanding because they are not me. They are independent or they are individuals of themselves. They are not me. Even when they came from me, I need to remember that. And if I didn't perform well, if I had struggles in school, I cannot sit back and start thinking I gave birth to the geniuses who are going to go to the moon. Well, those miracles do happen, but it's not what I should be fishing for. I use the word fishing because it is unrealistic. You never led your class anytime through your school life. And on your boys' case, your girls' case, you have to be among them. Why am I wasting my money? And you're always on their case. You need to be real more realistic. That if you didn't do so well at school, cut them some slack. Be human. Being vulnerable will help us get our teenagers to open up, and we will have a good relationship at the end of the day. Sometimes teens talk when they see you are human too. We need to remember that, because once we forget it, we think the more angelic or divine we appear, the better it is for them to relate with us. No, it doesn't. Actually, it closes doors when we do not have experiences that we share with our teenagers. Now, the other thing is be consistent. I said be consistent. Opening up takes trust. Yeah. And trust takes time. Those two rhyme like that. Opening up takes time, and trust takes time as well. So if I'm to open up to you, I mean, not everyone opens up to anyone, any stranger, and you start talking about yourself. If you do that with a stranger, something is actually categorized of you as something wrong, because you cannot just start blabbering about your life, about your health, about your family to a perfect stranger unless something is wrong. It takes time. You need to be seeing this person over time. Then before you know it, like someone was telling me that I've worked with this gentleman for this many years, but he had never opened up and talked about his family to me. But all of a sudden he started talking, telling me this and the other about his family. And then you realize it's because they had worked together and he had assessed and seen that he can connect, and actually he provided a safe space for him to open up. So trust takes time, and opening up takes trust. So once we realize that, we give it time. I said be consistent. If you're going to be in your child's life and your teenager's life, and you cannot be understanding today and the next day you're on top of the roof, you cannot take, you cannot be, listening and all these things that we have talked about today, and the next day you are a different person, lashing out at anything that they say, interrupting, interrogating. You need to be consistent so that trust can be built, because because opening up takes time. So you need to also know that trust also takes time. So you be consistent in what you're doing. If you're going to be understanding through and through, not some days or sometimes. Yeah. A teen won't talk to you today if you only show interest once in a while. We need to remember that. Once in a while show up won't work out for you. Consistency builds safety. If you do it constantly, trying to get to understand them, trying not to interrogate them, not interrupting them, not to judge them, you do it consistently, guess what? They will open up. And safety builds communication. We need to know that. If I feel I'm safe with you. Have you seen drunkards before? I'm sorry, guys, those of you who enjoy alcohol, I don't want to insult, but have you seen people who go in bars? I've watched movies, and people once drunk, oh my goodness, they go on and talk and talk and talk and talk. Why? Because that safe space has been created where it seems like no one is judging. Everyone is understanding at the bar. They understand why you're drinking. They understand why you want to drown your sorrows. So it is a safe space, and so you open up and say everything. Those people who are bar tenants have heard stories of people, and they know people's lives from beginning to where they are right now. Why? Because when people are in that state, they are vulnerable and they speak, and once they drink alcohol, that space is enlarged, and they just go on and on and on. So remember, safety builds communication. We need to be consistent. And segment 4, we'll talk about real life examples. I hope you're ready for them. Let me give you a real example. Something I've seen over and over again. I want to give this as an example. A parent asks a teen or their teen, why are your grades dropping? That is something that is very common. I mean, we ask our teenagers, why are your grades dropping? A teenager says, I don't know. And just looks at you. I don't know. Then the parent gets upset. Teen shuts down completely. The moment the parent gets upset, the teenager shuts down completely. But when you approach it differently, like I've noticed school has been stressful for you lately. Do you want to talk about it? Oh my goodness, you will be surprised. Not the different settings. One is where you ask, why are your grades dropping? They would say, I don't know. And that's the end of it, because they don't know, and that's it. But then if you come up on this other approach of, I've noticed your grades are dropping. Do you want to talk about it? Oh, you'll be surprised. They will tell you things, and you get to realize either your kid is really not blessed up there to do these things, because they will tell you, I try, but I don't understand things, or the teacher is not good, or somehow you get to relate more with your teenager because of the approach. A teenager will open up once you've used the second approach. Actually, I'm scared of failing is one of those responses that you would get, or this person was getting. And I don't understand the math teacher, I'm giving that example. I hope my daughter doesn't think I'm talking about her. But when we switch our style, then they switch their response. Because when you ask them, I noticed your grades are dropping. Are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? Then your teenager would be like, I don't like the math teacher, or the math teacher is out to get us, or the way he delivers, we don't actually understand. General performance is not good, or it's like the teachers don't really care. That way you're getting more than one word from your child, as opposed to, so why are you performing badly? Your grades are dropping, There is a way where you can approach that can give you a really good response. So we go to segment 5, how to respond when they finally open up. Because they will open up. And trust me, if you follow this through, guys, they will open up. It's a live podcast, just in case you need a reminder. And go ahead, share how you have also parented your teenager and how you got them to open up. Or if you're struggling, drop in the comment section and let us know that we are not alone, but we have a whole lot of people that are going through what we are going through. Otherwise, segment 5 is how to respond when they finally open up. When a teenager finally decides to open up their heart to you guys, your reaction will determine whether it will happen again or never again. Your reaction. I mean, she's telling you something or he's telling you something, and if you're like, what? The moment your face changes, your tone or your tone shifts, guys, it's gone out of the window. They will not tell you more because they don't, or you shout, you raise your tone, you will not hear more out of them. So your reaction will determine whether it happens again or it never happens again. So here's what to do so that we help each other. Don't interrupt, like I said. Keep a calm face. When they are talking to you, telling you, sharing their day, their stress, what it is that bothers them, don't interrupt. Keep a calm face and ask gentle questions like, how did that make you feel? I like it when these Western people do it and they ask a 3-year-old, 6-year-old, 5-year-old, how did that make you feel? And how did that, make them feel? If they are telling you a story, how did that make you feel? This is how you're making them seem like their opinion counts, their feelings are validated. You understand, guys? So we are now hacking into the system and trying to get to our teenagers and get them to open up. How did that make you feel? What do you think you need? So like they're telling you about their struggles at school, you ask them, what is it you think you need to get better or to perform better? They'll be like, oh, so they are not mad. So they are interested in me getting better. That will help you. Thank them for trusting you with their feelings. I know it's not a culture that we have been groomed to adopt, where we thank our teenagers or our children, their opinions count, their feelings are validated, but we need to learn because such is the time that we live in. Like I always say on my chats or podcasts, while we were growing up, we didn't have these social media platforms out there to show us how others are living, how others are doing it. But right now, oh my goodness, you go to Instagram, people are putting their lives out there. You go to Facebook, it's out there, TikTok, and you can't keep anything in the dark anymore. So they have a lot to compare to. Now, if others are talking to their children a certain way and getting different responses, we need to adopt, because we can't stay in the stone age or the backward mode while we are living this era. They will find out and they will demand more, and you will end up losing out, because then they think they are not being seen or they are not being validated. Thank them for trusting you with and say this: I appreciate you for telling me, even if they've shared something that to you means nothing or is not up to anything, just say thank you for sharing with me. I know it's not easy. That one sentence will strengthen the relationship massively. It will strengthen it. Trust me on this one. So, if you're a parent there and it has been happening, go ahead and let me know how you have done it. Otherwise, I want to read some comments right now. Like I said, it's a live podcast. Go ahead, drop in the comment section. Let me know who is watching, where you're watching from, and what it is that you've experienced parenting your teenager. I want to read comments right now. Cedric says, hello, Winfred. And Kira and Corey said, hi. Kira, we are Kira, Nekori watching. Thank you guys so much. You were the very first people that came on. And Cedric says, hello, everyone. Hello, Cedric. You are one of those that tune in always, among the top fans you rank. And Musa. Musaf says hello. Hello, my dear. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Jemima says hi. Hi, my dear. Thank you so much for dropping by. And Audrey says hello. Hello, Audrey. Thank you for tuning in. Cedric says, can I practice this advice? Sorry. The kids become teenagers, or I wait for teenage age. That's a good one, if I may say. Well, I think some of these things start from a place. Like I said here, that it's consistency. You cannot start when they've become. Like in Uganda, we have a saying that if a tree branch grew up the wrong way, it's supposed to be straight, but then it grows up going bent like this. When you try to straighten it, it will just break. Why? Because it's not used to going this other way you're trying to put them. So guess what? I think you start now. As long as you have children, create that environment where they can talk to you, and start also allowing them to be their own individuals. We as parents, we tend to hold on. But guess what? There comes a time when we need to realize that our kids are growing up and they are grown, and we need to let go of them and allow them to be themselves. Also, be realistic. So I think it starts early, Cedric. If you have children, the best time to start is now, where you create that environment where they can come to you just about anything. Because we tend to think, well, when they get to that age, I'll start it. It may be not easy for you to start it. They actually may wonder, why is it that now you're interested in my life when you've never been? So the earlier you start, I would think the better. Mwanje Dina says hi. Hi, my dear. How are you? And Dina Max says hellos. Hello, Dina Max. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Mwanje Dina says, I'm almost a teenager. Hey, you're almost a teenager. So you're not yet a teenager. When you do, Yeah, I hope you won't give your parents a hard time. You'll be one of those that open up to your parents. And Mwanje says, I know you. I'm glad that you do. I don't know you, but I'm glad that you do know me. And thank you so much for tuning in. And Dina Max says, like and share the live. Thank you, Dina. Mwanje Dina says yes. All right, guys. Thank you. I like that comment. Like I said, it's a live podcast and you can go ahead and drop in the comment section. I will read all your comments as and when they drop in from this point on. Let me know who is watching, where you're watching from, how your experience with teenagers, or if you're a parent, whether you've had the same experience like I have, or my facts are true. Let us both exchange ideas and see how experiences have varied. Otherwise, in our ending segment, tonight, I hope, guys, that Mwanje says, I can't really say my name. It is good you can't say your name, but I'm glad that you've tuned in. So tonight, I hope you picked up something that can help you and help you connect with your teenager in your life, because it is paramount, guys, that we connect with our children. Remember, teenagers don't open up because we demand it. They don't open up because we demand it. They open up because we have created a safe space where they want to be. If we don't create that safe space, they will not open up. So the key thing to do, guys, is to create that safe space. If we can remember that, our teenagers will tell us just about anything. It is sad when your teenager goes off and explains all that they are going through to a total stranger. Mm-hmm. It is annoying. It's sad when our teenagers go and open up to complete strangers, like, going and opening up to counselors. I don't believe in them. I know they are not bad, but I don't believe in them. I believe in handling my child as and when they grow. If there's anything that they want to ask, they come to me and ask. If there's anything that they want to know, be guided in, I want to be the one they ask, or to go to. So when they have, like, one of my kids' friend told me that she went off to school and her parents had gotten her to these different counselors and none of them helped. She was going off for counseling. Every time she finishes school, she goes off for counseling. And my daughter was asking, has it helped? And she was like, no, it's actually just making things worse. I'm getting tired of these people prying into my life. I just keep on telling my parents, I don't like that one, and they switch me to another one. So if we can create that environment whereby we can talk to our children and get them to open up, I think it is worth it. It's better than spending money for them to go and talk of things to total strangers. And like I said, teenagers don't open up because we demand it, but they open up because we have created the space where they want to open up. If you found this helpful, guys, I encourage you to share the link with someone who is going through the same, who has gotten teenagers. If you're an auntie, you can share with your teenagers or your nieces or nephews, tips so that they can be helped. Or anyone who is parenting teenagers, you can share the link, and together we help our teenagers grow up and be better and open to us. If you found this helpful, like I say, go ahead and like. You can go ahead and like the video, share it with friends, and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, so you never miss out our Friday nights live sessions, because we do this every Friday night. Drop a comment before you leave what topic you want us to talk about. If there is a topic that you want us to talk about, drop it in the comment section. I will try and fit it in if it's one of those that fits. I don't do politics, so don't put anything on politics. So go ahead. If there's any topic you want us to discuss, come Friday, God willing, you can drop it in the comment section and we talk about it next week. Otherwise, you guys, I'm glad that you've been here. I can see 15 of you there, so I'm expecting that I would have at least about 15 likes from you. Otherwise, thank you so much. I have seen all your comments. I've seen all your comments, and trust me, I've enjoyed myself, and I would like to say, guys, you have been a blast. Thank you for being on from the very beginning up to now. And I would say good night. Take care of your teenagers because they need you more than they'll ever admit. I mean, teenagers do need their parents, but they put on a front as though they are the boldest people, they are independent, they don't need anyone, but they do need us. So remember that, guys, that because even when they don't show it, they need you more than they'll ever admit. Don't give up on them, even when you see them throwing tantrums. I hope you have enjoyed yourself. Anyone else who is watching or who is still tuned in, go ahead, drop in the comment section. Let me know who you are, where you've watched in from as I wait for the camera person to come and sign me off. I'm glad that you guys have come. I'm waiting for your opinions on next topic. I would have loved to have my teenage nieces come on next Friday and we talk about teenage life. And I think we may do that for next Friday. So keep eyes on this channel, guys. Next Friday, we may have some guests who will come in and keep it lively and real, teenage mind at its best. So I hope you stay tuned in. Otherwise, go ahead and subscribe. You'll be able to get notification of videos as and when they drop in, and you will not be able to miss the lives chats because you'd get to know that we are doing one or we are not. Until next time. Bye, guys, and have a pleasant weekend.